I have some of my gurus, sort of people like Andrew Huberman, for example, like some professors doing a very, very in-depth research.
I was following him and I unfollowed him at a certain point. Really? Yeah. You know why? He says that all those toxic chemicals that you find in cosmetics, that they enter the bloodstream and give you cancer and whatever. And I'm like, you're a scientist. Welkom bij de tweede aflevering van het Cosmetica Complot. De beauty podcast waar we geen blad voor de mond nemen, een aantal mythes gaan doorbreken en jou als luisteraar en als kijker meenemen achter de schermen van de cosmetica wereld. Today we're here with Iryna Kremin. She is the founder and CEO of Innocos Conferences, and those are renowned beauty conferences around the world because of her innovative approach. She's very much into biohacking and longevity for health, but also for skin health, and she's even organizing a specific conference around this. So welcome, Iryna. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Well, for those who don't know you, Iryna, can you tell me who you are, where you come from, and what do you do?
I'm Dutch-Ukrainian origin, and I came from the country, from Soviet Union, actually. I was born in the Soviet Union, and I remember looking in the window, and that moment, we were a country where, you have no chance to travel outside of the country. There was no, passports to travel abroad. It was like the Soviet Union in the stage like North Korea right now, basically. And I remember from the very, very young age, I was reading some books about different cultures, and I was dreaming to travel around the world and just see some other cultures. And I guess what I do right now, I am realizing my dream. I just didn't see it so long, but...
and all the steps in between, Iryna, how did you end up being part of this?
Yeah, I always like to learn and meeting interesting people. So I get into the conference business for some years, working for the other companies.
From within Ukraine? You started working in Ukraine? Or?
No, in the Netherlands. Yes, my partner is Dutch. This is how I moved to the Netherlands. But when I started working in the conference business, I find it's giving me a lot of joy just meeting interesting people and traveling and things like that. And this is how I, after many years working for the other company, I realized that there's something which is, doesn't make me happy any longer, So I hired a personal development coach, and she sort of bring it out of me, that she said that you have your own ideas, you want to do your own business. And this is how I started. So but many people think I'm coming from cosmetics industry. No. I'm more like a professional networker, I would say. And the cosmetics was selected by pure chance when we did a lot of research on different industry, and when I wanted to go more deeper, not doing two general conferences. I find that when you look at innovations and marketing, cosmetic and beauty is one of the most dynamic industry, very short innovation cycle. You have to innovate very, very quickly compared to the other industry. Marketing plays very big role there. And I find that this is a very interesting industry for the conferences.
So you touch upon something that I also touch upon in my book, is the innovations in the industry. It's going so fast. It's a lot of marketing. Yes. So when it comes to those innovations, when do you decide, how do you spot them? And how do you decide whether that is something interesting for you to bring at the conference?
Yeah, well, I just follow the, social media, but also I read a lot, particularly beauty news. There is a lot of very good, interesting publications which are focusing on the what is new coming in beauty. And, when you read all of it, you kind of picking up some directions, and every time is something new, every year something new, and I'm trying to introduce each topic at the conference, and there is always some old stuff,
Because I know the conference, I've been there many times, and I really love them. But for those who don't know the conference, can you tell me, what is Innocos? What does it stand for? What is it? If you would come to a conference, what can you expect?
Yeah, I've been, as a beauty junkie or a conference junkie, I consider myself a conference junkie because I like to go to different events. I go to many, many, many events different size, different kinds, and I love the events. But many times when you go to the conference, you kind of like it's a little bit can be a little bit stressful because it's like a big event, a lot of people. You're trying to fit in this group, you're collecting this business card, everything is rushed, and being a little bit introvert myself, believe or not, people don't believe me, but I find like, what if there is an event when you come and you feel like a part of the family? You feel like there is a community which supports you, community which helped each other. And this is kind of like event I wanted to create, and I created sort of my dream event, let's say. Was it easy? No, because like when you go for the small events like that, there is like less profits, you're not really like very commercial and stuff like that. But for me, like all the idea of this like perfect community and sort of family-like atmosphere in a beautiful resort, in a like where we're taking time to get to know each other, when there is not only when we not rush to the back to home in the evening, but staying together for like a nice big dinner. And so
what are the things in the conference that make it so typical or different? Can you give an example?
I don't know. For me, like it's all people. Yeah, for me, I just like I find very interesting speakers when I go to the other event. And I find the speakers and people who are very open, who like to, who not afraid to share, who are smart and fun, actually. One of the criteria, I would say, it's people who are fun to be around with.
Yeah.
And when you bring a couple of
Not
people
too
like that,
serious.
yes, when you bring them, and very, very smart at the same time. So when you bring a group like that together, that's magical things happen. So I think the people is the core for the success, actually.
So and what is the next thing in Innocos? What is it that you still want to do? What are you dreaming about?
Like interesting things like Innocos start with the name is Inno for innovation, Cos for the cosmetics, and we were speaking about a lot of beauty. Slowly we were adding wellness, and last year I'm absolutely totally like obsessed about the biohacking and longevity trend, which is really booming in the beauty industry right now. There are a lot of big companies, they have like a big departments which are focusing on that. They collaborate with like medical institutions, with putting together like bringing together new products in the market. And there are a lot of like longevity. I've been, because I'm a conference junkie. I've been in the biohacking conferences. I've been in longevity medical conferences, but I have not seen an event which would cover beauty and longevity.
Yeah.
So I am. This is the directions which this year we were taking slowly. I introduced a couple of sessions on that. I bring some doctors, some scientists, and been a very big success. So
maybe one step back, because I'm not sure every of all the listeners understand what biohacking means or what longevity means. I touch upon it in the book as well, briefly at the end of my last chapter. It's all the things that you can do yourself to understand your body better and to manipulate it, kind of, really.
Exactly.
It's measuring what is it that your body is doing right now at the starting point zero through genetic test, epigenetic test, all different types of testing, and then starting to fine-tune that in order to manipulate it and make sure that all your metrics increase in a positive way, right?
Exactly.
Or change in a positive way.
Exactly. It's using science, technology, and lifestyle adjustment to have a better performance of the body and mental and physical performance to improve you. And you absolutely agree. The number one things what you have to do is measuring, because you cannot improve what you cannot measure. They say know your numbers, know your numbers, and it is included like blood test, saliva, DNA test, heart, all kind of like wearables, heart rate, microbiome, little poop test as well. Done that, biological age test.
Yeah.
And this is the core.
The thing I also very much believe in is that every person is very unique and that everyone should look at their body, their skin from an individual approach, right? Very personalized.
That's the core.
That's the core. And understanding what you need is the first step into searching for the right solutions. What do you do? What are your daily things that you do in your biohacking scheme?
When I started actually doing it, it's like I find like I gone through the different stages. Probably the first stage was like intermittent fasting, when I found that my hormones start changing, and I'm start gaining weight in the places where I usually don't, and things like that. So like I start doing intermittent fasting, helped me a lot with the way I felt, and not only look but also felt. Then, I'm going to, as I said, different stages. I was paying attention to the biological age test when I found it. I found it, I did biome test, and I find out that I'm 7 years younger. Then I give myself like, okay, now I want to
So your biological age means that's how your body...
methylation, sort of, like
Yeah.
a cellular
level, what your body is versus your chronological age, what you actually are. So you were 7 years younger.
Yes. So I followed
because of the things you were doing, or because your genes?
I think so, like because like I already had quite a healthy lifestyle. Then I find out with biome what are my superfoods, what I need to focus on to eat, and I was focusing on meditations. I was continuing intermittent fasting, meditations, and I a little bit improved my diet according to the biome sort of like recommendations. And then in 1 year, I thought that would be nice to be 12 years younger back, and I can show you in my biome test 12 years younger last year. I want to repeat the test
what did you do extra then? What are the extra steps you were taking?
Whole food, plant-based diet, exercise, meditations, sleep. Yeah, that's
basically all the things we know.
Yes,
you might challenge it and say, okay, everybody knows we should exercise, everybody knows we should sleep well, eat well. Why do the test?
Look, just to confirm that, I'm on the right way, right? But I have not started yet what I'm doing right now. So let me tell you, because the interesting things about biohacking, this is what is very important to know. Biohacking is a big industry. There's a lot of money in it, like all kinds of supplements and the wearable devices and things like that. And many of them are really great. I'm using many of them. But the core things, the most important things, what you can do in order to live healthier are all free, because they're all based around a good diet, maybe taking supplements. If needed, then exercise, physical exercise, good sleep, and for the mental health, maybe socializing with having a family life, good social life. That's it. This is outperform any kind of devices and things like that. But speaking about biological age, it's just methylations. Like the longevity is also measured by many different things. Our body is so complex, because every organ also has a different lifespan. And you need also to measure different organs. So when I start measuring other organs as well, I find my HRV, my heart rate variability was too low, a little bit stressed too much.
Then you were measuring your heart at this age,
And then I find my bone density was also declined rapidly after 50. So I start focusing on that. So this year, my biggest biohacks and what I'm doing right now, number one, I'm focusing on muscles. I want to build muscles, because muscles, when I start reading about, I always was skinny, and I thought that it's nice, girl, I need to be skinny and things like that. After 50, I realized when I realized my bone mass is declining, and they said it's much harder to build the muscles who actually improve the bone strength.
That's true.
And also heart, and also metabolism, which is also kind of like very important in my age. Yeah. Then I start really focusing on building muscles. I went to the personal trainer. I did some of the EMF sort of special suit exercise, which has helped me to build the muscles, and start boxing for my bone strength.
But like you said, there are so many things. It's a big industry. There might be good things. There might be bullshit things as well. Like in the cosmetic industry, there is also big money, and there's a lot of non-scientific, let's say, BS. How do you differentiate? what do you do? How do you know whether it's good or not? And what do you trust and what don't you trust?
That's a very good question. And actually, I think you have described it very well in your book. I think it's very hard to find out what to trust, because I also often comes through my partner would come to me with a newspaper and said, look, this is the studies about this is not true. But, I say, what kind of study is this? Is it a random study? There are a lot of different types of studies, and there are a lot of industry who manipulating with these studies. So there is a lot of misinformation. Absolutely, you're right. Everything, as you say in your book, and I was shocked actually to find out, because I'm reading some books. My last book I'm reading right now about also biohacking stuff, and he mentioned about supplements. Because in the beginning, when I started biohacking, I was following some of the biohackers, and I was like, oh, I need to take M&M, I need to take
I know
this
which
and
one
this
you're
and that.
referring to.
And then I was taking a lot of supplements, and then I realized there are some studies being done, because it's not FDA, the supplements, not FDA approved, regulated.
Yeah.
And when they start looking through the supplements.
So it's not without risk,
yes,
honestly, what you're saying. So you start taking supplements, you see it on the internet, there are some very high professors that recommend it.
Some of the supplements do not include the vitamins, whatever they say it there, and some of them even have some harmful ingredients.
Yeah.
It's crazy. When I start reading about it, I realize also that you cannot. I mean, if I need to do supplements, I need to do some very good homework. What kind of company is doing it? I think European.
Do you think the supplement industry is even worse than the cosmetic industry?
I think they are very similar, hand in hand. Absolutely. Yeah. So I realized, first of all, you have to. How do you trust? Very good questions. Yeah. Very hard to trust. What I do, I follow. I have some of my gurus, sort of people like Andrew Huberman, for example, some professors who are known for doing a very, very in-depth research.
I was following him, and I unfollowed him at a certain point. Really,
yeah.
You know why? Because at a certain point he says that all those toxic chemicals that you find in cosmetics, that they enter the bloodstream and give you cancer and whatever. And I'm like, come on, guy, you're a scientist. So what is it? Is it because he honestly believes it, or is it because he's selling his supplements?
I have to tell you, there are many of these kind of gurus which I'm following also. Sometimes I hear mixed messages. For example, if you have a headache, you are dehydrated, blah, blah. You can be dehydrated, but there are many other things. So sometimes they are very, they are trying to build the followers, to bring more interesting kind of information like that. Yeah. But I mean, you cannot trust anybody. You probably need to see when you buy a supplement or cosmetics, where it's made a little bit. Because I think Europe is a little bit more safer. It's had more rules, right, in Europe than in China or even America.
Different rules. Different rules. And definitely, I think it helps in knowing who makes it and trying to
do some research. Do your research.
And ask the research behind it. Ask the companies to send you the research. Ask them the critical questions. And if they're very transparent in answering all those questions, then they're probably trustful. If they have good reviews and if people who use it, it might be a good indicator that it's a trustful.
Interesting. I never thought about it.
Okay, that's my tip to you.
Yeah.
So have you, I'm not sure if you have read the book, because it's in Dutch, and you did some Google Translate. Probably.
Yes. I was reading, with a little bit of Google Translate. I understand Dutch. Ik begrijp Nederlands, maar niet zo goed. Engels is beter. Because sometimes but I was absolutely delighted, because I was waiting for this book, and I was asking you, what is the book? Tell me a little bit what the chapters are.
I will tell the listeners something very special. I started writing this book in your house.
Yes, absolutely amazing.
My very first
I provided
provided the whole biohacking environment and the rest and the mindfulness, and I started writing there. Is there any favorite part in the book that or is it something maybe that you're missing in the book? Something.
Nothing I'm missing really. I think you covered it so well. What I like about this book is how clear you structure the book, how you like questions and short paragraph answer, these tables explaining some things, like how well organized is information, because you are digging into like very complicated area. It's like until now, as you say, like nobody really knows what we can do. My favorite part probably something what I learned from you. First time when I did my DNA test, because of course, as for biohacking my skin, I have measured my DNA, and I find out that like my skin has a lot of DNA, a lot of moisture, perfect moisture, but not enough collagen. So like all this money I spent on all these moisturizers, keeping moisturizing my skin, was like I should focus on taking collagen instead, which is very interesting. But I remember when you was explaining me, like, it's 2 pumps only. And I remember in the beginning, like less is more, right? And I know this in biohacking, because I know this is in food, for example. They say that our body can somehow regulate, and our body is very smart organism, and it can produce even vitamin D and protein and everything. Like you should not overwhelm it with like too much food or supplements, something which is body can.
But exactly
can
what is needed.
Yes, exactly what they needed. And I know this about like sort of food and stuff, but I didn't think about this like skincare, to be honest with you, so much, because like being working with the beauty industry, I'm very curious to try a lot of different brands. And when I put it on my face, I'm like, make sure like I put enough of it, so like like do good for it, But in the beginning when you say like 2 pumps, I tried to put 2 pumps in all my face. I felt like I barely covered it, And
But that's what industry tells you.
Yeah.
It's a commercial model.
Yes.
It's more
Yes.
cleanse 2 times per day.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always make scientific sense. So indeed, let your skin do a lot itself.
Yeah.
Just help it where it's needed,
Yeah.
and don't overdo it.
Yeah, because there are two problems is that first, not overdo it, not overwhelm, because skin thinks that you have too much of the, skin does not want to produce what it's usually produced. It's a one problem. And the second problem, sometimes many of these products, as you say, that has some harmful ingredients. And the same like with vitamins and stuff
And
like
damage
that.
the barrier.
It can also damage the barrier. So it's like... that was like eye-opening for me a little bit. But a lot of things, of course, what you mentioned in the book, I already know, with all this greenwashing and all kind of washing that industry is sort of, like, and sometimes often I think these brands, they're not necessarily want to do harm.
No. Sometimes they just don't know.
They're just maybe because like so easy to start your beauty brands, as you said, like can do it, everybody can do it, and there is maybe not enough evidence sometimes about certain ingredients, or because this medical, what is it, studies, how you call it, this is very expensive, right?
Clinical studies.
They're quite expensive. So sometimes the brands not intentionally actually
it's true.
misleading.
That's also not the purpose of the book, to attack other brands, not at all. But it's just indeed there should be more control. Like we are very strict on paper what European legislation says, but it's not always followed up. And I think it's not always easy for a new beauty brand to invest in all those clinical trials. That's also the case.
Yeah.
Going back to the biohacking part, you're even considering, or you're planning to organize a very specific event about this?
Yes, totally. I already have a draft agenda. I have already lists of speakers. Switzerland. The first one is Switzerland for sure. Longevity, next to one of the longevity centers, actually. I already made some contacts there. I'm already building my network, and people are very excited.
How do you find your speakers then? Because of the conferences you go to, you just invite them? Okay.
Going to the conferences, reading about other conferences, just see like, oh, this longevity conference. Okay, this presentation. Okay, let me check on YouTube. Maybe speakers have a little bit of presentations on online. Yeah. And I always check. I like to check. Speakers also either hear them speaking somewhere online, just to get idea of the energy, of the style and things like that. And look, I have a very nice network, and my people are actually very much into longevity as well. There are a lot of investors also who I'm working with. They are totally switching into the longevity industry, and they just recommend me people. This is like the biggest things. When you have this network of people who really like very friendly and who has a like nice community which is family-like, they are very open and they are happy to recommend me the best people.
And should you be part of the industry in order to attend your conferences, or can everybody who listens now and says, I want to be part of it, can they come?
It's not really for the business to consumers conference.
Okay.
It's business to business.
Okay.
The purpose for this event is to bring together scientific medical institutions, longevity clinics, and beauty brands so that they can learn from each other. So the beauty brands can learn from longevity about all these studies, about all these new interesting discoveries, and they can come out with very smart products who are helping us to live to have like healthier skin, and but it's not only skin, it's healthy hair. Longevity is
Everything
becoming
starts
hair.
from health, and when it's
supplements
health,
as well.
exactly.
It's the local it's devices, supplements, skincare, drinks. A lot of interesting products are coming from it, and cosmetics is tapping into it, and I would like to help them to sort of like accelerate this more scientific based products.
Okay. So the book is called Cosmetica Complot. It's about conspiracies, and we have this complot or not question that we do on Instagram, but that I also ask every guest. So is there anything that you consider as which is completely not true, or which you think that people should know that there's misinformation about?
Are we speaking about cosmetics?
It could be cosmetics, it could be a trend or a hype in biohacking that we should consider more carefully, that we just should not jump blindly into, which could be dangerous, like you mentioned. Is it something that you've tried and that you say, looking back in hindsight, this was not worth my money? And
not worth the money is not really dangerous. I don't think I've tried anything dangerous. Some crazy things sometimes you hear, like for example, drinking your urine is good for you, like something like health or something. That's absolutely not true.
Have you tried it?
No. No. But I remember I came across the information that I was reading somewhere, and they are saying that, yes, it's been proved that it's not true. And I was thinking, God, that people even invested some, because it was so widely spread at one time.
But you hear the craziest things. I'm not surprised that people would step into it.
Oh, crazy thing. Do you want crazy things which really works? What I hear?
What?
It's fecal transplant.
Okay.
Speaking about that. And apparently it is true.
But
it's
that's
good.
True. That's true. There is.
So it's not necessarily has to be crazy.
No. That's true, and that's used in the medical world as well. So they do that in order to improve your gut microbiome and to diversify it again.
Yeah,
that's true. But that's not something you're going to do in the conference, are we?
No, it's not that kind of conference. Although microbiome is a big thing right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Others are like outrageous, right? But probably overusing something.
Yeah.
Probably that would be
combining a lot of things and trying because you see it on the internet. Do you think that's
crazy?
Maybe as a last question, do you think that the internet and all those influencers or do they? What is your view on it?
So much misinformation, and there is a lot of also good stuff.
But
and this is the problem.
How do you filter it?
First of all,
what do you think it should happen in order to make it more clear for us?
I think you need to have some sort of authorities, people maybe with educations, who should you should trust more than just a regular influencer. For me, it's someone who has some medical degree. Although even there you can come across the misinformations. But it's very hard because there are a lot of good stuff and there is a lot of not true stuff. the way how I'm working, how I believe in it or not, I like to try things. And especially, like, many of this is not too crazy to try.
Okay.
And I try and measure. I measure before and after. I've tried with my HRV to improve my HRV. I start more running. I start doing more breath works, and I'm start doing some this other things. And my HRV, I increase it in 100%. I'm still not out there yet, but the way how high I increase it right now is doing very simple things. Once again, the best biohack is lifestyle changes.
Voilà,
That's it. You don't need much of the,
No.
Devices and you can play with it. Some of them even work. I have this device I'm using for the breath work just simply because it's difficult for me to motivate myself to do breath work myself. I try to schedule it, blah blah blah. Like I'm lying on the bed and I'm breathing like stupid. It's sort of like.
So you're saying basically
Sometimes
do what
it
works
helps.
for you,
Yeah.
try, and if you have devices that
Yes.
can measure improvement, it's
Yes.
good, but it's not necessary. It's also how you
Exactly.
feel.
Yeah.
And if you're lost, there are tools like the tests you've done, genetic, epigenetic tests to help you get along.
Because the most important part right now, it's all about personalization.
Exactly.
It's no doctor, the good doctor will never tell you do this and it will help. The good doctor will look at your numbers, will look at your history, individual estate, DNA, whatever, like all the numbers, and then they can give you some advices. It's not a good doctor who, without looking into your personal sort of information, would give you advice.
Anything else that you would like to add that also is not mentioned in the book, for example?
And I think it's mentioned a little bit. I want to tell how lucky we are that we live in the time of this AI, which is developing so fast that it's really helped the science to find out more interesting information into this cellular health and
you say lucky. Some might think AI could be depicted as dangerous as well.
Let's look on the positive side, because will be a lot of medical advances because of the AI, and we are curing more and more diseases, and we find out more and more information about how our body works, and this may help us to live much longer than we may expect. And it's not about living longer, it's about living healthy.
Yeah, exactly. So is this something that you will cover in one of your upcoming
conferences?
Yes. Oh, cool. Looking forward to that. Thank you, Iryna. We have already come to the end of this session. It's very short, 30 minutes, but there's a lot more I want to talk to you about, and maybe during one of your conferences, or maybe if the listeners want to hear more about biohacking or other stuff, they can also give us input. So thank you.
And I would like to thank you. I would like to take this opportunity for taking your valuable time and to writing this book, because as we have described, it is very difficult to navigate all this sea of the informations, especially with the development of the social media. And I think this book is very clean and clear sort of informations, which really helps you to understand about a lot of things, all the major things. I literally could not find the area which I would still have the questions on, not covered here. So I think you did a great job, and yes, I think everyone should read it, and you should do it in English, please.
Well,
the next one.
We'll talk to the publisher. Yeah. Thank you so much. Dus alle topics die we in het boek beschrijven, gaan we uiteraard verder toelichten in de volgende podcasts, 1 voor 1. Dus ze komen zeker nog aan bod. Moesten er nog andere dingen zijn die jullie graag horen, dan mogen jullie ook altijd laten weten. Dus ik kijk er naar uit, naar de volgende podcast. Ik hoop jullie ook.